Hello and welcome, Must Players. I'm Mark Santamartino, and this is your weekly dose of everything film, entertainment, gaming, frankly, anything we want to talk about. Sitting to my left is a man who's been delving into the world of indie games this week. Julian Price, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm loving it.
And you're loving it.
Yeah.
And a man who's racked up 70 hours on his time.
Sponsored.
Yeah, that was not a McDonald's ad. And a man who's already racked up 70 hours on his timesheet this week, but is still here, Ryan Mason.
No video gaming for me.
No video gaming at all, but that's fine. You'll be okay, because there's plenty to discuss, even if you haven't been playing games themselves. What are we going to be chatting about, Jules?
Some crazy attention to detail in the new Red Dead Redemption game.
I love it.
You just have to listen.
The double. This is comedy gold. We just need the rule of three. It needs to come back at the end of the episode.
We need that sound bite coming in over the top.
And Meso?
We're going to be talking about PlayStation Mini has been announced.
Yes, something that we missed last week. It happened literally a day after we recorded this.
But there's still so much to talk about.
So much. That is awesome. I can't wait to hear what games you would like to see on that little beast. If it's anything like the SNES Classic and the NES Classic, which I love, I think we should all be very, very excited. Now, on to the headlines for this week, and we start on a slightly sour note with the news that Telltale Games, the people that have been behind the Walking Dead series for Telltale, the Batman series for Telltale, have officially shut up shop. They are done. They are closing their doors. Basically, only 25 people will be keeping their full-time positions. And there's actually some workers there who are now filing a lawsuit against Telltale Games, asking for days compensation for unpaid holiday leave and sick leave and all that sort of stuff. Now, I've never been a huge fan of their games, not because I've not liked them, but just because I haven't played them. But everyone online is seemingly saying this is a big loss for the industry, mainly because there weren't too many people or studios making games like this. I mean, what's your experience with Telltale Games? Are you upset that they're gone?
Well, I think there's something that needed to be there. They were very unique in their storytelling, and they seem to have a lot to give. I kind of regret not picking them up and playing them. But what I have loved that's come out of this is all the game studios around the world opening their doors and saying, hey, we've got positions, everyone come and apply. There's just so much strength in the industry. So.
Even though that one's folded. Meso, any thoughts? Did you ever play a Telltale game?
I didn't play them, but I liked that the games really gave you more story if you wanted to delve a bit deeper into these worlds, especially with Walking Dead.
Yep.
But I wonder what they're going to do now, like to drop it down to 25 people, like...
I have no clue. Maybe they're going to become a bit more of a support studio, or maybe they're just doing mobile games. We don't really know. But
because the Stranger Things would have been a huge hit.
That's what I was about to say. That's the game that we just found out about.
Yeah,
it was in the works. Stranger Things, one of my favourite series on Netflix, was getting an adaptation into game form.
Yeah.
Probably the first one I would have played. And all of a sudden, it's no longer a thing. Apparently, Netflix is looking for another studio to make that, though. So it might not be the complete end of the road on that title. We will stay posted. Into the realm of film, we had so many trailers this week. So many trailers. But before we get to that, we got a release date for the new Harley Quinn movie starring Margot Robbie, of course. Warner Brothers saying that the spin-off Birds of Prey, which of course doesn't just focus on Harley Quinn, but all of the amazing female villains in the DC sort of Batman universe, is going to be coming out February 7, 2020, which is... It feels like that is an eternity away.
It's just over a year.
That's a year and a half away.
Yeah.
We are almost at 2020, which is kind of depressing. Into some of the big trailers that we saw this week. One that dropped today, this Wednesday that we are recording, is the new Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them trailer.
Very excited for this one.
Are you? I mean, why? It looked incredible. I've never seen a trailer that was this impressive.
They're bringing Hogwarts back.
Yeah.
That is Harry Potter for me, essentially. The school.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Hogwarts, and I love that we're seeing Dumbledore.
Are you upset that he's not as openly gay as all the other people?
Well, who knows?
On the internet?
We'll wait until we see the movie. Who knows?
Now, Meso, I think I know what you're going to say.
What's Hogwarts?
This is a man who has not seen a frame or read a page of Harry Potter, so you're over there for this. Really quickly, I thought it was honestly one of the most impressive trailers I've seen from a CGI standpoint. Even if you don't appreciate Harry Potter, the simple fact of the amount of beasts that they show off, the depth that they go into with the story. This looks incredible. I'm so excited. I must say, the Fantastic Beasts first movie was probably my favourite Harry Potter movie.
Really?
That there's been.
Jeez.
I really enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah.
Tim's looking very up. Have you seen it?
Pure garbage.
Pure garbage is his review. I really liked it, and I'm excited for this second one. So watch the trailer. It'll be up at mustplay.net.
I'm looking forward to seeing Johnny Depp as well.
Yep.
At first, I was a
You're
bit
the
like,
only
really?
Yeah.
But the trailer, he's kind of growing on me a bit. So
We'll have an argument about this later. Anyway, Daredevil Season 3 got a trailer as well. The only way to, defeat evil is to let the devil out. It looks awesome. We've got an article up on mustplay.net.au. We've got a new trailer for Bumblebee, which is a spin-off of the Transformers.
not by Michael Bay.
Not by Michael Bay.
Travis Knight.
Does that mean there will be less attractive women in this movie?
Less lens flare and explosions.
They probably won't be fixing motorbikes upside down, I'm guessing.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
Child's Play, the reboot. We're going to see Chucky back on the big screen. I've actually never seen a Child's Play movie, but I've always loved Chucky. Just the symbolism of it. I love him.
Scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah?
Chucky movies, yeah.
That's one that I think is going to be looking really cool. We've got some news on Space Jam 2 as well.
LeBron James.
In that, was it the director of Black Panther has been signed on as a
Yeah.
producer for Space Jam 2, which is essentially, as far as I can tell, going to be a reboot of the first one. Which I'm 100% fine with.
Yeah, the first
Side
one's
note
great.
about LeBron, he's
Yeah.
a gamer, and he's been playing Spider-Man with his kids.
He has.
He
Yeah,
posted a
I
video
saw
about
that
it.
tweet. Yeah.
Can he be any cooler? I don't think so. I love LeBron James. Anyway, and we have to mention this because we spoke about
Here we
it
go.
briefly last week, and I really stuffed up his name.
Here we go.
Joaquin Phoenix. Have I said it right? I think I've said it right. There was no hate mail, but people are upset, I'm told.
Not that I
Anyway,
showed you. We got so many.
we got so many. Look, Joaquin Phoenix, the guy who's been called in to play the next iteration of the Joker for this Origin movie, the Joker, I'm told. We first initially saw just a single image of him, which we spoke about last week, and a lot of us were pretty disappointed about what he looked like. Just this middle-aged dad that you'd find in line at a bank. But now they've released an extended video where it flashes between that and what he's actually going to look like with his version of the Joker makeup on. It's almost like a pantomime. It's very, very, very... what
very
you'd expect out of a
clowny.
car... Yeah, what
Yeah.
you'd expect out of a clown in one of those black and white films.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you have to have such exaggerated makeup so you know that you're looking at a clown. But I will say, even though I didn't really like the makeup, the one thing that I liked above anything else is just how his facial expression transitions from that wry smile. Then you see his lip quiver and he just sort of has this dead... Like
Deadpan.
Yeah, I can go from happy and laughing and joking to I'm going to kill you
Yeah.
in a split second. Any thoughts? I mean, are you more interested now that we've seen the makeup?
Nope.
Okay, we will move on from that one. I looked quickly. Apparently, I've heard that Batman's not going to be in it at all. And given that I know there's so
I'm
many
fine with
different
that. Yeah.
different Joker origins, but I'm pretty sure his origin story is the fact that he fought him at Ace Chemicals and fell into that vat, which turned his skin white. I'm interested to see how they get around that. Don't know if you can have a movie with a protagonist without an antagonist.
It
in
might
some
be,
way,
it
shape, or
might be
form.
the copper. Well, I've forgotten his name now.
Gordon?
Yeah. Yeah. Gordo.
We'll see. Let us
Gordo.
know what your theories are.
Good
What are your theories below in the comments? Real quick one. We've been playing Spider-Man to death. In fact, I platinumed it yesterday.
Well done.
8%.
Excited. I'm part of the top 8%. And I even went beyond and I found those 50 secret photo locations just so I could get this meaningless extra costume which does nothing. It does nothing. It's really disappointing. Don't waste your time. But the really good news about Spider-Man, I mean, we loved it, Jules. And it has become the fastest selling Sony game, first party Sony game on the PlayStation ever. In 3 days, it sold 3.5 million copies, knocking God of War out of the top spot, which was 3.1 million.
And as we discussed last week, PlayStation is just killing it in first-party games.
Oh, yeah.
And this shows.
Killing it.
Oh, yeah.
They are definitely killing it. And look,
They're building up a huge momentum as the next consoles drop, aren't they?
they are. They really, really are. Which is what they're going to need to keep people on the PlayStation, I suppose. I don't know how Xbox comes back.
Forza Horizon's out. Go, go Xbox.
Hey, it's the change of seasons, all right? You can
Yeah, yeah.
drive in the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, speaking of PlayStation, one thing that we missed last week just because of bad timing was the announcement of this PlayStation Mini. This is going to be our first discussion topic of the week. So much hype going out about this thing, particularly at a time when Nintendo, even though they've had such success with the SNES Classic and the NES Classic, their relaunch of Nintendo Online and bringing the NES games back there has sort of been a bit so-so in terms of the reception. But now we have this announcement of a PlayStation Mini. Did you have a PlayStation growing up?
No, I had a 64.
You had a 64?
Yeah,
I did.
That was around about the same time.
Not until I was a bit older, but I did.
Okay. Now, see, I'm actually surprised because I thought that if a PlayStation Mini would ever launch, similar to a Nintendo 64 Mini, there wouldn't be as many games. Because we saw it go from, I think, 25 on the NES Classic down to 20 for the SNES. But that's the exact same number that's going to be on this thing. So 20 games that we have to look forward to. Those so far include Final Fantasy VII, Ridge Racer Type 4, Wild Arms, Jumping Flash, and Tekken 3. Now, there are obviously a lot of PlayStation games. I mean, what are you most excited about? We still have 15 games to find out about. Is there anything in
we can
particular?
definitely rule some out.
You can rule some out. Okay.
Crash Bandicoot's not going to be on there.
Yeah, it's been redone.
Spyro's not going to be on there.
But you would get it with such great, old school graphics. Maybe people are looking for that.
I don't think Metal Gear will be on. Metal Gear 1.
How come?
Because it's been remastered and it's been ported and you can play it.
One game that I'd love to see is Medieval. Cartoon skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
Great game. We had a tease earlier in the year that it was coming back remastered. We haven't seen any gameplay or anything yet that I've noticed. So I'd like to see that.
Mine's Driver.
Yeah.
Driver, as we were talking about before, the hardest intro level in video games, I think. It was Driver, but I think that was the first open world driving game I played anyway, and you got Miami and San Francisco with it.
Do you reckon we'd see maybe like an old school Grand Theft Auto? Potentially a 3?
Like a top-down.
Potentially
a
a 3,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Look, maybe we see that. I mean, I personally would be hoping for something along the lines of a Crash Team Racing because it's a multiplayer. It comes with two controllers, so I would expect to see something along those lines.
Tony Hawk 2?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 has got to be in there.
Yeah.
It's got to be in there.
What about like Ape Escape?
Never played Ape Escape, but okay, that's a fan favourite.
It's going to be 20, so there's a lot.
20, I know, it could be. Yes,
I'm a big Resident Evil fan, so I'm hoping Resident Evil 2 jumps on there, especially given that we know that the remaster of Resident Evil 2 is coming out early next year, I think January or February. I think that'll be a really nice lead-in. And I don't know, is there anything else that really catches your eye? I know you've already ruled out things like Spyro, but just having a quick look, I mean, even Chrono Trigger came out on...
Carmageddon.
Gran Turismo
Carmageddon.
2.
That was one I was trying to think of it. Yeah, Carmageddon.
Yeah.
Look,
well, I hope they make the right choice because I'm pretty sure they've said that they're not going to be adding any new games after. So what's on there is what's it. You won't be able to add any more.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we get some of these terrible games? I'm looking at a list of the 20 worst PlayStation games of all time.
No.
Barbie Explorer.
Oh, let's hope so.
Does that ever... The fifth... Oh, well,
They made a Fifth Element game?
Apparently they made a
Bless
Fifth
you.
Element game. Tim's just coughing up a lung or sneezing out a lung, whatever he's doing over there. Look,
Was Cool Borders the PlayStation 1?
It was Cool Borders.
Cool Borders?
Yeah, the snowboarding game. Yeah.
met with
Wasn't
the
that-
silence it deserves.
I know, yeah. God.
Oh, I really hope that Snowboard Kids is on the Nintendo
Snowboard
64.
Kids. Or was it Tricky or something like that?
Oh, SSX.
SSX Tricky?
SSX.
Was that on PlayStation?
That was on Xbox.
Xbox, wasn't it?
Well, apparently one of the worst
Bubsy.
games of all time is Bubsy 3D.
Oh my
I don't
God.
think it's coming back, but maybe Tim's voting for Bubsy. Anyway,
Let's crowdfund Bubsy.
I
Get him
don't
going.
think that's going
Bubsy's
to happen.
acid trip.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. Let us know what games you would like to see on this PlayStation 1 Mini. By all means, there's so many to choose from, it's hard to narrow it down, but let us know what your predictions are, and maybe when we finally get the full list of games, we can compare and see who does the best.
Let's hope it's not tonight.
Let's hope it's not tonight, before this podcast launches. Hey, we've had some bad luck. It's got to turn in our favour. Now, really quick, one of the things that we would ideally like to do more with this show is highlight the great video games that are coming out of Australia. We obviously are from Melbourne, which is in Victoria, right down the southeast corner of the country for all of our Egyptian viewers. But obviously, we've got some great games that have come out of here so far. We know that Hollow Knight was a ripper game made by Australian developers. I have been singing Golf Stories praises for way too long. If you haven't played that, that is great fun. Of course, all of the AFL live games, just joking, they are terrible. But we had the chance to go and chat to the Voxel Agents, which is a Melbourne-based development team who've been around for 10 years now, as we found out. And they've just had a brand new game launched on the PlayStation 4, PC, as well as the Nintendo Switch this week. It's called The Gardens Between, and to be honest, I was blown away when I first saw this game. I didn't know it existed before we saw the release date pop up this week, and you sent me that link, Jules. And we hurried together to quickly interview Matt Clark, who was the co-founder of that studio and the developer of this beautiful game. Here is a very, very small snippet of what we discussed. Well, we've got a special little treat for you. Sitting beside me is not only Julian Price, but also Matt Clark of the Voxel Agents. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today. And we're here for a very special reason, because this week, after 4.5 years of hard work, you have finally released this beautiful looking game, The Gardens Between. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you so much.
Now, tell us a bit about it. What is The Gardens Between?
Yeah, so it's like a surreal puzzle adventure game. It follows the story of two best friends. So they're next door neighbors. They run away from home and then eventually get lost. They fall into like a strange, surreal world of Garden Islands. But the trick in the game is you don't actually control the characters at all, so you control time.
Okay, so let's see how that works. So I might jump in.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
And Jules has been playing a bit of this game since it launched on the Nintendo Switch. So, Jules, why don't you run us through, I suppose, your first impressions and what you think of the controls? I mean, and then we can get into how, I suppose, the game...
Well, the gameplay is definitely unique.
Yeah. Let's jump into the first level. Just go
all the way to the left. All right.
Yeah, continuing some progress that I had previously.
Apologies.
That's all good. Yeah, really easy controls, like you're saying. Just left and right moves time. You can press spacebar to interact. It's all designed to be like really easy to learn, basically. Like the game should teach you everything that you need to learn.
Okay. So we're waking up on this island.
Yep.
Seemingly both knocked out at this point.
Yeah, so they kind of like fall here. There's a bit of a cutscene at the start there.
Okay, and immediately I'm noticing that when I hold down right on this keyboard, time is flowing forward.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't press anything, time stops moving as well. So
okay.
Yeah, this is kind of like the first level in the games. All you can do here is move time forwards and backwards.
So here I'm at a bit of an impasse. I've got this box in my way. It wants me to go back. So what is this level trying to tell me to do?
Basically, I guess because in most games you're controlling the characters, right? So like if you want to walk somewhere, you can walk somewhere. This is really just teaching the player that sometimes you need to rewind. So the first kind of puzzle here is like you don't go forwards, you go backwards.
Okay.
And then as you rewind, the kind of physics unplays and goes back, and then the tower fixes. So now when you go forwards, you won't be blocked anymore.
I love it. What was the inspiration, or why did you focus on time as your core mechanic?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I guess we kind of wanted to make a game where the player's not directly in control of the story, so you're kind of following it, rather than changing the actions, although obviously you can change some things to solve puzzles. The original prototype was basically based on the scene from Minority Report, where Tom Cruise is like scrubbing backwards and forwards in memories. So just like kind of following that core idea of like small timelines, moving backwards and forwards, trying to look for clues. And in that movie, there's also the idea of the like inconsistent narrator. So like one of them has like an alternate memory. Mm-hmm. So I guess our theory of time travel is not so much like Terminator style, actually traveling in time as because it's a story about friendship. It's more like two friends having a conversation about an event or events that have happened. So yeah, it's kind of like as you're telling the story, the details of the story change. It's like, I remember this time we went down to the pub, and then you're like, no, that didn't happen. It was we did this instead. So that's kind of our theory of time travel, I guess. It's more like a conversation about a memory.
You can catch the full interview up at mustplay.net.au once we're done editing that one together. It's relatively cheap on PC at the moment, Jules. I think only about $15. They're doing a sale.
Yeah,
I think you said
I've got 17 on Steam.
10% off. It's $17 on Steam. USD, that is.
Beauty. It's a little bit more expensive on the Nintendo Switch if you bought the...
Well worth it.
But well worth it.
From what I've played, I highly recommend it.
And I must say, this game is beautiful. And to think that you only play with 2 buttons and it's all about manipulating time.
And you're not actually moving your characters around. So the whole concept is, it sounds bizarre, but it just works.
It is truly, in my opinion, having played it for that very, very short amount of time that we were there with Matt, a game that most people would be able to enjoy, and it's definitely one I'm going to be showing to my partner, who's not the biggest gamer.
Yeah, no camera movement.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you take out that second analog stick, a lot of games become a lot more accessible. And finally, in terms of our discussion topics for the week,
Oh dear.
attention to detail in games. Now, there are some stories about what developers have gone to, the lengths that they have gone to add little Easter eggs in video games before. Now,
varying lengths.
or varying lengths in this case. And look, it's apt that you discuss that, because look, I think all of us understand that Rockstar put a lot of detail into their games. GTA is
the radios
such
and-
a real life, world. As you said, you got all the different radio stations. But this one takes the cake in my book. I didn't expect this. I don't think anybody asked for it. I don't know why. Can you imagine the meeting where this was discussed?
It's not the Easter egg we
No.
needed. It's the one we
You
deserved.
imagine the artist creating this. Yeah.
It's a ballsy move.
It is.
I'm losing it. Look, we're all familiar with the concept of shrinkage. We've all seen that famous Seinfeld episode.
I was in the pool!
But apparently, in Red Dead Redemption 2, if you waltz into a stream or a slightly icy lake with your trusty steed, the genitalia of said steed, assuming you have a male horse, will noticeably reduce in size.
Well, I guess it's third
one way to
person,
put
so
it.
you're going to be looking at it from the right angle. Yeah.
No camera manipulation necessary. They want you to be able to see exactly what is going
And
on
everyone
there.
knows about it now, so everyone's going to be looking.
Gonna be staring at it.
Can you
gonna look.
imagine how many screenshots, like the comparisons people are going to be posting
I know
online?
what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around trying to find the horse with the biggest set of, just so I
Of
can
course.
walk around.
The biggest man,
Yeah.
man, of course.
Because I want,
Look, it seems like a ridiculous detail to add in, but that being said, we know they're going to the nth degree with Red Dead Redemption 2, which we are all very excited about here at mustplay.net.au. But it got us thinking about some crazy details which have been in games that we love growing up or that we've played in the past. I mean, one that we've just been playing, Spider-Man, has no two towers from, obviously, as you would expect in there, or any of the memorial to where the two towers are. However, if you look in the reflection of one building, you can actually see the two towers there mapped on that reflection, which is crazy to think that somebody's gone to that attention of detail to put that in that little that Easter egg there and that mark of respect. So for games that you guys enjoyed growing up, I mean, was there anything in particular that stands out, Meso?
I remember in Black Ops 2, you had the tactical insertion, which was a little device and you hit the button. And apparently, only because I've read this on the internet, apparently the numbers in the screen, I mean, it flashes up for a second.
Yep.
Are the latitude, longitude coordinates of where the map is based in the real world.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. So they've obviously...
That is insane.
It is insane. And for
Why?
something that flashes up in a second. And then you think some bloke has gone up, typed in those numbers, recorded it, frozen it. What are these numbers here? And figured it out.
It's crazy what people find in video games. And in terms of what people find, in the theater mode of Halo 3,
Yeah.
apparently every bullet has your gamer tag etched in it.
Every bullet casing has, I think it's Master Chief's name imprinted on it.
Just an insane amount of
Yeah.
As in
detail.
Master Chief?
As in, I think it's like Chief _ or something like that.
That's stuff that you wouldn't necessarily even expect out of a real world sculpture.
No.
Out of a film
Yeah.
to have all of these things that you would never really see.
And the only way to see it is to go into theatre mode, fly around the map, find a bullet casing, go straight in low and try and spot it on it.
Well, you mentioned another one. What was the game you mentioned for PlayStation 1? The
Oh, Driver, the one we were saying.
Driver, yeah.
Every time when you did a burnout, your hubcaps would come off.
That's insane.
And so every time you got into the car, you started driving, you have hubcaps, then you burn out, the hubcaps come off, and then you got no hubcaps.
Do the
rest
hubcaps
of-
like stick around?
No,
Like,
they just roll down.
They just roll down the
street. Yeah.
See that?
One thing I always really remember, and again, I didn't find this, but the Super Smash Brothers trophies are crazy attention to detail in and of themselves. But within those trophies, there are crazy things like reflections on Metal Mario's nose, which shows one of the Super Smash Brothers Melee stages in it. Even there's a reflection in inside of a Metroid, I think, as well, like the little amoeboid mushroom sort of thing. where you actually see the final boss fight from the SNES game. And there's even there's one more. Oh yeah, on the bottom of the barrel in the Donkey Kong barrel, it's actually etched in with the number 2, L8 for you. It's too late for you. If you're near one of those barrels, it's going to explode or send you flying, which is great because nobody's going to see that on the bottom of a barrel. But they've worked it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jules. Does anything stick out in your mind? Or
recently with Spider-Man, you can read in photo mode. Fantastic thing if you want to get into all that attention to detail, and it's probably the reason that they had to put so much detail into the game. You can read the warning label on the microwave in the feast kitchen.
Are you kidding me?
You can read the full text of the little warning label.
Well, more importantly, what is this energy rating, Jules?
Well, hopefully good.
Hopefully good. I thought you read this label.
And the other thing, Spider-Man's fresh in my mind. There's a mission involving QR codes. You can scan them in real life, and it'll take you to a website. So it's
crazy what they do. I think people around the world, in Egypt and Morocco, are sick of us talking about Spider-Man. I'm done with the game. You're done with the game. Meso hasn't played it yet.
I haven't started yet.
We're not going to talk to him about it.
I'm going to do it.
Let's talk about the games we are currently playing without Spider-Man being in there. Jules, I know you have currently been playing a bit of the Gardens Between.
Yes, and I look forward to getting stuck into that, and I will give my review.
Is that a good one-handed game if you've got a kit?
No.
You could almost play it one-handed.
Almost?
You could, yeah. I mean, if you're happy to just sit your hand on top of the controller, and you could almost manage it. It's pretty basic.
Yeah, give it up.
Yeah, you probably could, actually. I might try it.
Meso, I know you've been working non-stop this week.
I haven't played anything this week, but I'm still hitting up Destiny 2. I still haven't completed all the things you have to do each week yet.
Yep.
So they keep resetting on me and I've got to start again.
Last week we did get stuck into a couple of PUBG games.
Yeah, Jules and I had some PUBG.
He took me around, he showed me the ropes.
Yeah.
Ropes for days.
Sites, and then I jumped on Tarkov the other day just because I love it, and the new patch had come out, which sort of fixed a bit of the netcode, and the game runs a bit smoother, so I went on and checked that out.
Sensational. I mean, I've been playing some old games this week as well. Not necessarily old, but I booted up Mario Tennis Aces the other day while I was waiting in the doctor's foyer? What is it called? Waiting room. Oh my god! Yeah. Waiting in the doctor's waiting room, and was playing this match online, and I couldn't pause it. So when they called my name, I had to say, "Can you see somebody else?"
Just a minute.
I delayed my appointment just so I could finish schooling this Bowser Jr. online. But I unlocked my Diddy Kong, which is the important thing. And I downloaded Undertale this week, which is a game which is, had accolades and is widely revered. It has been for years. It finally came out on the Nintendo Switch, which is my reason to buy it. And I'm only about 2.5, 3 hours in, and I don't think a game that's based on text and in that horrible almost 8-bit style artistically has ever been this funny. Like, I'm actually laughing out loud at text, which I didn't think would be possible, but they've done such a good job, initially at least, in building these characters, particularly the two skeletons, which I think most people would know what I'm talking about if you've played Undertale. They are so funny, and I can't wait to play the rest of this game.
Well,
fantastic.
One more thing that I want to mention. My review's up online, mustplay.net.au, for Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Yeah.
This is my first time playing this sort of game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's probably the best place to start if you wanted to play a Japanese role-playing game. So check out my review.
Beautiful.
That's good to know, because they're
they're tough. They're tough to get into.
Tough to get into. Yeah.
You got to really want to persevere.
They look like a lot of work. Yeah.
Well, you rated it a good play. So you can read that review up mustplay.net.au. That is all the goodness. That is our show this week. Thank you again for joining me, gentlemen. Let us know what you're playing or what you'd like us to discuss next week in the comments below, or flick us an email at mustplay.net.au. Of course, you can also find us on the socials: Facebook, Instagram, not Snapchat, but Twitter. If you'd like anything, if there's anything you'd like to add to our show, by all means, do it there. Give us a follow, a like, a 5 stars, whatever you can possibly do to get this show a little bit more recognition that I feel it deserves. Frankly, I'm not biased. Anyway, that is it for us this week. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next week on the flip side.